is Seriously Speaking. Again, we shall be talking about issues that are close to your heart in a serious manner and yet fun. We shall be talking soccer seriously today, football to some. I often say that if you asked an 18-year-old anywhere in Africa today for anything about soccer, they probably know the English Premier League, they probably know the Spanish La Liga or the Italian Serie A. These are all things that we get to see on cable. And of course, names like Messi, you know, name it, most of these international players. But I know for my generation, there are some names that stand out. One of them is someone we'll call Mathematical Odegbami. He will be here in the studio along with some other tough people in this industry, talking seriously about what we can do to bring our local leagues to the level of those international ones, where we shall be oohing and eyeing over African players right here on our soil, beginning from Nigeria. We shall be talking seriously today about soccer. Don't go away. Hi there, my name is Adesuwa Onyenokwe.
The number of Nigerians in foreign prisons is actually embarrassing.
It's for real. Is he insured? Have a sip. You're welcome to the show. It's serious, I'm serious.
We're playing to represent our country, to make a name for self.
Music, dance, and drama, all into one. That is our own theater.
My sexuality is not put in front of my table. It's not entertaining my audience. I do what I have to do. Microphone is my power. I get out there, get my job done, smile to the banks, and that's that.
In the period that I practiced law, the last person I wanted to do business with was government, because things just never got done.
Oh, you think someone like me, with these big boobs, with this pretty face, would have somebody I'm dating?
I am Adesuwa, and I will be seriously speaking right here. Welcome back. We're still in the studio talking football, as it were, and my director has kindly reminded me of some fantastic names of footballers on the English Premier League and international leagues, like Yaya Toure, he's African. We have Ronaldo, who's forever tussling with Messi for who is the best player in the world. We have Rooney, we have Giroud, and several of them. But for me, I remember the days of Kanu Nwankwo and Austin Ujeji Okocha, and there seems to have been a gap with the Nigerian names that are present there. We have Mikel Obi there, of course, now. But given the fact that people like my next guest had done so much in soccer, 30 years ago he retired, yes, but his name was sounding and ringing bells, at least all over Africa, in his time. One would have thought that in that time, we would have been able to sustain the number of African players we have there, especially Nigerians. I'm particular about Nigeria because this is my country. And I wonder, where did it all go wrong? So I'm going to start our serious talk today by inviting someone I see as a legend, even though he doesn't agree with me, but we call him Mathematical Segun, Mr. Segun Odegbami. For today, welcome, sir. Nice to have you on my set. Yeah, sit down. 30 years after, your name is still ringing a bell. What does that say for Nigerian soccer?
There's a big problem.
You know, 30 years after. But before I start, I must say, is it because you're an engineer that they called you Mathematical Segun, or because of the way you came from the wings to score all those goals?
I think both.
Okay.
It was Ernest Okonkwo, the radio commentator, late now, who coined the word mathematical. And I'd never had the opportunity to ask him whether it was, as you said, my engineering background or the way I played, which he described as mathematical. At some point in time, I'm going to play back some of the very memorable games that we saw. I think what I remember most, what comes to my mind right now about those games, their shorts were usually very short in those days. Now they don't wear such things on the field anymore. You know, you see them running all over the field. I also remember skipping school once, I hope my mom isn't watching this, in Ife, going to Ibadan to try and get into an IICC match, thinking that we could get in. But the tickets were sold out, there was no space. In fact, the crowd to go in there were scared and went away. I can't remember going to a stadium today and seeing that kind of thing happening. Does this bother your heart? Well, the world is a completely different place now. Now we have internet, we have cable television, we have mega stars of football who play in the professional league. We have all of those elements. that didn't exist during our time. In our time, we were local stars, and we were the only ones available for people to go and watch. And we didn't have the kind of television, local television, that we have these days, in those days. So people had to go. Part of their social engagement during the weekends was to go to the field to watch games. And we had great superstars within the Nigerian football space. But these days, they all move very quickly to Europe. So the players that are there now, you hardly know their names. But thank God that TV is bringing back some of the glamour of domestic Nigerian football.
Okay, in your time, you played soccer until you were, at least 30.
Yes.
There's one thing that keeps coming back in soccer, and that's what they'll keep blaming African players and managers for, that we always falsify ages. Is this true? And why do we have to do that? Why is age an issue in playing soccer?
Well, I think it is something that generated from the mid-80s when a group of young Nigerian players went out there and won the World Cup, as it were, for under-17s. And the moment they came back, they were idolized. Everybody just, they were worshipped. They were given this, given that. And so football at that level became an end in itself. That is, you could play there and still make a lot of, make so much for yourself. And anyway, once you played at that level, then the route to Europe, the route to professional football abroad becomes a lot easier. And trust Nigerians, is a reflection of our society. You needed to cut corners. You wanted to go to Europe very quickly. You wanted to play professional football. And if you were 21, 22, and you could play at under 17, which became a shortcut, of course you will go that route. That's what we have experienced since 1987 up till now. And it has caught on in other African countries. They have seen how Nigeria did it, and so they are doing it. It's an open thing. Everybody knows it.
Is this a disadvantage?
It's a huge disadvantage, because you find that our players don't last for long. When they go out at 24, 25, claiming to be 17, and they are supposed to sustain in the game for 15 years, you find that after 7 or 8 years, they are finished. Whereas their colleagues in Europe who played at the same time with them, don't let us start mentioning names, you find them still playing whilst our own players are retired, are retired from the game. So it is not good for the game. It doesn't give credibility and authenticity to the game. It doesn't help our children who are genuinely young, who are good, because the opportunities that they should have used are now usurped by older people who will not sustain for such a long time. So generally, it's affecting football and sports development in Nigeria.
Take a look at that. Can you tell which game this is?
I don't know.
You see what I mean about those pants that you wore? But
this is Egypt. This is when we played Egypt at the National Stadium.
Okay. At least you brought us the cup for the first time, the African Cup of Nations. How did that make you feel?
Wow, on top of the world.
You still remember the winning goal?
I remember every single thing about the Nations Cup because I have all the games.
Okay.
So from time to time, you go back and watch. That was a turning point in my life, actually. It made me a landlord. It gave me a national honor. And the name we made at that time has sustained me up till now. So,
which of your team members would you say still has that kind of clout as you have today?
Adokie Amaisimaka.
Oh, well, I don't remember him.
Christian Chukwu.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, and a few others.
And I just wonder if our psychology of football is right. I don't know what psychology we're developing in our kids today. So I will take a break at this point in time so that I can invite some other guests into the house so that they can talk about what kind of football are we listening or watching or enjoying in all of Africa today. And we'll be back with you in the studio at some point in time. Thank you very much for being with us. And thank you for watching. I'll take a short break and I'll return with my next set of guests. These are presenters, popular presenters on television today, doing football and other sports on sports television. If you don't go away, you'll get to meet them in a short while. Hi there, my name is Adesuwa Onyenokwe.
The number of Nigerians in foreign prisons is actually embarrassing.
It's for real. Is he insured? Have a sip. You're welcome to the show. It's serious, I'm serious.
We're playing to represent our country, to make a name for self.
Music, dance, and drama all into one. That is our own theater.
My sexuality is not putting food on my table. It's not entertaining my audience. I do what I have to do. Microphone is my power. I get out there, get my job done, smile to the banks, and that's that.
In the period that I practiced law, The last person I wanted to do business with was government because things just never got done.
Oh, you think someone like me, with these big boobs, with this pretty face, wouldn't have somebody I'm dating?
I am Adesuwa, and I will be seriously speaking right here. Yes, welcome back. I will have joining me in the studio in a bit someone who is the last of 8 kids, a young woman who is recognized, whether it's South Africa or Nigeria or Kenya or Egypt today because of cable TV. She's a presenter with Super Sports, and I'll be inviting at this moment Chisom Mbonu to join me. Let's continue talking seriously about football in Africa. Hello. Okay, tell me why you're wearing trousers. Do you play football? Hi.
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Did you ever play soccer at all?
Never, apart from when I was between the ages of 6 and 10.
Did you play with your older brothers?
My older brothers, they're friends. I have an older brother, the one just before me, who's just a year older. So we would play ball together with his friends. The only girl with about 25 boys. So.
Oh, well, now I know where it comes from. But I know that I played soccer with my brothers because, I mean, I was the first daughter. Yeah. But all I remember about that soccer is I hold their shirt when they are dribbling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
In fact, last year, there was this media sports event, soccer competition between the female journalists and the male journalists. I was the goalkeeper. And I have to say, I think I gave Petr Cech a run for his money.
Are you serious? Okay,
yes.
I mean, you present with Super Sports and you do the Bundesliga.
Yes.
I didn't call anybody from that. The only person I know from there, I call him Scarface. Can you give me a name?
In the Bundesliga?
Yes.
Oh, you have Ribery. That's the person you're referring to as Scarface.
Ribery,
yes.
Yeah, I call him Scarface. He has such a tough look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a bad accident, but, you know.
But I wonder if he has a gentle heart. But to be honest, when I see his face, I'm like...
He does look like it, a devout Muslim from what I hear, a family man. And he has the skill to forgive anything anyway, so he's a fantastic player. There are other players there in the Bundesliga. I keep telling people that everybody talks about the English Premier League, but the Bundesliga, for me, is the most exciting league in the world. And it's a level playing ground.
I don't know because that's what you're reporting.
No, that's not what. Remember, I report the Serie A, the La Liga, and the Barclays Premier League. I'm just the only one who does Bundesliga for SuperSport. But that's the only league where you have one team as the big team. In the EPL, you have the big 4. In La Liga, you have the big 2, Real Madrid, Barcelona. In Serie A, you have Inter Milan, AC Milan, Napoli. You have Juve, Roma. But in the German Bundesliga, you have just Bayern Munich. Every season, someone new comes up. Every season, someone new comes up. So you've had the likes of Borussia Mönchengladbach finishing in the top 5 position. You've had Hamburg.
Is that good?
It is good. For me, it's good. It makes the league more exciting because I don't know who's going to win it. But Bayern Munich has won it in the last 2 seasons. But last season, I beg your pardon. Before then, you had Borussia Dortmund win it 2 times in a row. That's rare.
So there's something to aspire to.
Yeah, there's something you aspire to.
With the English one, you're sure that it's either of these 4.
I know the 4.
But it didn't look like that this last season, though.
This last season, I think it's one of the most competitive, anybody's game so far. I think I can predict who's going to win it anyways, but it's...
I'm not going to ask you to predict.
Don't ask
because
me,
it's not about predicting those things. For me, it's about... You tap an average... In fact, these days, jokes are cast in most events, and they're like, on what side are you on? Are you on Man U or are you on... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're so passionate about all of these things, and I'm wondering if TV and your job has anything to do with that.
Yes, yes. TV plays a big role. Now, I'm going to use the English Premier League as a case in study. Before the Premier League was invented, okay, that was in 1992, 93, it escapes me now, but in the early 90s, before it was created, or in the 1990s, I think, they had the same problems we face in Nigeria now, okay? They didn't have pitches that were up to standard. So if you go back and watch clips from that time, you see players playing on mud. They didn't have the luscious green that you see today.
In Europe?
In England.
Really?
In Europe, yeah, in Europe. Well, let's take England, the best league now, so to speak. And then at the time as well, they had a lot of hooliganism in football. So there were fights during matches, fights after matches. And I spoke with David Dean, who was once the chairman of Arsenal Football Club. And he told me that he was one of the 8 people that came together and decided to change the English Premier League. And they created it into what it is today. They called a few clubs, including Arsenal, Everton, Manchester United, and a few other clubs. Aston Villa was one of them, I think. Brought them together, their owners. They had secret meetings. And those secret meetings were just so that they could change football and turn it into the big business that it is today.
Big business.
Big business. That's the word, business.
The aim was to make it a business.
A business. And one of the things they knew they had to do was bring television into it. At the time, it wasn't Sky that was running the English Premier League, but they went to Sky and they said to Sky, you know what, with television, we can make this league one of the biggest leagues in the world. And it was achieved not just through the financials, contributions that they made individually as clubs, but because television was part of it.
Kayode Tijani, 23 years as a journalist and adults talking sports. Come in and join us. Come on, Kayode. No, I want you to come from here so you can hug my dear self.
Really nice.
How are you, Kayode?
Pleasure, man.
Thank you very much for joining us, most especially for sharing some of these archival materials that you have.
Most of it belongs to Segun Odegbami.
Mathematical. Yes. Do you know why they call it mathematical?
Yeah, I mean, apart from engineering or whatever, it's this. Once you watch that, you will know. He's one of the best players I have seen. He can play today's game.
Okay, let's sit down. Sorry. Okay, please, just say hello to Chisom. I'm sure you know each other.
Oh,
course,
yeah,
definitely. He's a senior colleague, so respect.
People say Chisom burst into the industry. Do you agree that she burst into the industry?
Well, whether she burst into the industry or not, she's one of the best. Extremely humble. She knows her trade. I mean, watching her at the Olympic Games, the last one, I mean, she did an exemplary job. One of the best you can just meet. She has nothing to do with whether she's a lady or not. We were talking about overage and all. It's very simple. I worked for some TV stations in England for some years. I did a research. I went to the hospitals. I said, for instance, I want to know David Beckham, how old exactly is he? Is he true? They just laughed. It took you to a computer, you press it and it's there. So because
when he was born,
everything is not. It has nothing to do with the English national team players alone. Everybody born in developed countries is there in the hospital. There's nothing called affidavit. It's very simple. So what we are failing to do now is what we used to do then. So if we could return to it, it's so simple. La Liga, German Bundesliga today, English League, they've gone. It's going to take, if you want to really do what they are doing, it's going to take you about 50, but they're not waiting. They're not waiting for, these are conglomerates. Manchester United, Real Madrid, they are conglomerates. They are making the kind of money that will blow your mind.
So the bottom line is it's a money game.
Yes. It's a money game.
We have not keyed into that yet.
Oh no, we've not even started.
I think, Kayode, I have to cut you short and say that I kind of disagree with you in saying that it's going to take us 50 years if we do that. The reason I say that is I take South Africa as an example. South Africans are not naturally gifted footballers like Nigeria. I know South Africans wouldn't necessarily agree with me, but so I do believe
it's an issue.
It's an issue.
Talent,
I can tell you that if Nigeria had the infrastructure and then the league structure that South Africa had, we'd be going far in international football right now. But you see, South Africa, they had the same problem. We have
no
now.
Pitches.
No pitches. They had nothing. Now the World Cup came and it developed it for them. Now, you can't say it hasn't happened to Nigeria because the under-17, credit has to be given to the Nigerian government as well. The under-17 also improved our infrastructure. We have it now. It's not the best, but at least it's better than what it used to be. But South Africa, what they did was, when television came, again, I have to hammer on the importance of television because television money is a lot of money. It's big money.
Yeah, we know. I mean, America colonized the world with television.
Yeah, they did it. Now, what happened was when SuperSport got ready to sponsor the Premier League in South Africa, I have to also let you know that the sponsorship money that SuperSport paid for television in South Africa is more than the money being paid for the rights of the English Premier League. And you know why? Because the product is there. It didn't happen on the first day. It happened gradually. Because SuperSport went to the league and said to them, these are the things we need to get sorted out. And the league decided they were going to sort these issues out. And as they sorted each issue, the value of the league kept increasing. And SuperSport paid more money, sponsors paid more money. The problem with Nigeria, in my opinion, is short-sightedness. Everything has to be now.
Definitely.
It can't happen now, no, but it has to start from somewhere. That's why I disagree. We can't say because we have all these problems. Yeah, we have to start now, and we all have to make conscious decisions to do things the right way.
I think one of those who would have to make those conscious decisions are the players themselves who enter into this industry. I have a young man who's in the local league. For the benefit of those who've never seen anybody in the local league, I have a young man, courtesy Kayode. He's going to come in, and I'm going to have a chat with him. I think he should bounce some ball a little bit on this set. So that
Briefly, let me say this. I am not and will never be pessimistic.
We're going to, we're going to get on the panel. Trust me. We're going to get on the panel. You can go head on and determine. But let me take my break so I can go to the market. You understand?
No.
And then when I come back, I bring in my local footballer, and then we'll go head to head. You never know who's going to join us.
I know.
So I'll take a break at this point in time, and we'll return with a local player who has aspirations. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe Bundesliga. At this point in time, and we'll return with a local player who has aspirations. Bundesliga. At this point in time, and we'll return with a local player who has aspirations. Bundesliga. At this point in time, and we'll return with a local player who has aspirations. Bundesliga. At this point in time, and we'll return. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe a player who has aspiration with a local. At this point in time, and we'll return. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe a player who has aspiration with a local. At this point in time, and we'll return. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe a player who has aspiration with a local. At this point in time, and we'll return. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe Bundesliga. Player who has aspiration with a local. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe Bundesliga. Player who has aspiration with a local. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe Bundesliga. Player who has aspiration with a local. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe Bundesliga. At this point in time, I will return. Player who has aspirations. Who knows where it's going to end up? Maybe Bundesliga. Is this a real football?
Not really, man.
This is what they call felele.
No.
I mean, I hear of felele, the one
like,
that you just toss around.
It's like a motorball.
Like a motorball?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Abu Aziz, and he's coming on set with me right now because I'm interested in knowing what his challenges are playing soccer or achieving your dream. Let's sit down. Let's sit down, Abu. Abu Aziz, where are you from? What state are you from?
I'm from Lagos State.
From Lagos State?
Yes.
Did you grow up here?
I was born here.
How old are you?
I'll be 20 next month.
You know they say that they falsify names, your age.
I don't know about that.
Your mother, we can go to the hospital and testify.
Very sure.
That you are 20 years old in very soon, this year.
Yeah.
You were 20 in May.
Okay.
Nice to have you on the set.
Thank you, ma'am.
From what I hear, your last team was Kwara United.
Yes,
how did you get on to become a club member or a player for Kwara United?
Actually, I played for Bridge FC in Lagos in 2012. So when the season finished, I went for trials with Kwara United. So I trained with them for like 2-3 weeks. So after the training, I was picked to join the team. So that was
how much is the salary? Can you tell us how much is salary?
My salary?
Yes. Will they pay you salary or they pay you per match? How does it work? I don't know. I'm just wondering.
We're being paid on salary basis, and match bonuses were included. If you play the match and you guys win, you're gonna be paid for match bonuses, aside salaries.
What salary was it? You know, you've heard that the local for professional league, they are recommending that each player earns 150,000 naira. Do you think that's too much?
No,
or too little?
Too much, not too much.
And it's not too little?
It's not too little. At least you can manage. You can manage at 150.
Why do you want to play soccer professionally, football professionally?
Because it's my life, it's my game, it's something I think I can do.
How do you know it's your life?
I don't think I can do any other work for now. I grew up playing football. And
every Nigerian child, in fact, every African child taps what they call tap soccer in the backyard. So could it be that you're interested in ending up, international shores and earning pounds and dollars? I hear things like people earn 250,000 pounds a week.
Very well.
That one,
No, it's not as if I'm doing it because of the money. I'm doing it because of the love of the game. I love the game so much.
Don't go away. We'll be back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking. Hi there. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking. Hi there. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Hi there. Hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking. Hi there. Back for our final hangout session on Seriously Speaking, and we have been talking football. Hi there. Back for our final hangout session. Welcome back. We're lucky to have in the studio with us the chairman of the League Management Company, and he will be sharing with us some of his insights into how that company in some ways will improve the football, the Premier Football League in Nigeria. It's my pleasure to introduce this evening. I call you Chief, you're Honourable Chief Nduka Irabor. Nice to see you, my brother.
Thank you. I would rather just be called Nduka Irabor.
No Mr., no whatever. But you're all of the above. I mean, you've represented us at the House, and that's huge. You know, and you're also a professional colleague, a journalist, you know, of whom we are very proud of. But more recently, your foray into, it was like suddenly you're into soccer. Soccer has always held an important position in your life, personally, football.
Well, there's nothing sudden about it. I've always had a passion about soccer. And what is accidental rather than sudden is my involvement in the management of soccer. I think some people in the Football Federation and the Ministry of Sports just conceived that they needed somebody with some known or established public probity to help restructure what was really going down. The fortune of football at this level, at the elite premier level, was really suffering, and they needed to do something. And somehow they thought about me and invited me. I run my own business, but I couldn't, for the sake of the passion I have for the game, ignore that call. So it's an invitation, really, rather than a foray. So it's like a patriotic, it's like just patriotism, trying to put back. There's a passion for the game. I don't know why it's patriotism, but passion for the game. I think a lot can be done about the game, and I believe I can do it with the support of people. And I had no qualms accepting to do that for as long as it is clear what they want me to do, and I was going to be given a free hand to do it. So far, so good. Do you have a free hand? Yes, I do. Completely? Completely. Well, I remember I was speaking with Kayode recently, a short while ago on the show, and he said something like people didn't realize that they could contend with you, that you are giving them a run for their money in the committee. You're surprising people. Well, you know how change is. People resist change at the onset. Yeah. First, because change tends to change the status quo that people have become comfortable in. People get steeped in their ways. Then change because of the uncertainty that it does bring. People are not certain that they input motives and hold you with great suspicion. You know, and we're not going to be deterred. I am not deterred about such things. I try to make the point and let people see what we're doing. So initially, the thought was, we've really never associated this man with football. Does he really know what he's coming to do? But that was purely out of ignorance. And some of these people are younger folks whose understanding or sense of history is limited. Because anybody who has followed football will realize that since the 70s, I have been associated with football either as a very active journalist reporting the sports or as somebody involved with government, promoting it from the government side as a football person, or just simply as an ardent fan. You did say in one speech you gave last year in June in particular that football is about emotion, it's about the youth, it's about passion, it's about fans, and it's about money. Money came last. You know, why do you put it in that order? I generally don't speak in that order. I wasn't trying to mention them in whatever priority, you know, but one other element you haven't added is that football is some kind of religion for some people. People will wake up, think about what the fixtures are, whether it is the local game or the game abroad. It's become such a universal thing. Football, whatever the platform, whatever the climate in which it is played, is struggling for market share. You know, so it's not Nigerian football or English football. People will watch football anyway. Some of us do stop by the roadside and watch kids play under the bridge. It's football. Good football is good football, no matter where it is. It's a universal language. But yes, you need money, you need people, you need passion in the people to drive the game. It's one of the things we're suffering here. We have money, but the passion for the local game is dwindling because football elsewhere has grabbed their attention, has seized their attention. It is not the quality of the game we play, it's perhaps the packaging. For some years, our football has suffered so much that attention has moved elsewhere. There's a certain hunger for football, not for Nigerian football, but football anywhere. If Nigerian football can't assuage that hunger, people will go elsewhere. So we have a struggle trying to get them back. It's not made any easy by the invasion, as it were, of our space by satellite television. You know, all you need to do is turn on your TV and you have several Italian, Bundesliga, Spanish, English to choose from. Even African football from several other African countries. You know, so the choices are many. Does that make your job any? Do you feel daunted by that? Not daunted, just challenging, but we always knew that problem was there. You know, what you worry about is how much time do you have to do it, or if you were to quit at this time, would people get the message and carry on? But, you know, we're doing first things first. The first thing is to establish some kind of foundation or vehicle to really drive this. You know, so we create a structure that is business inclined, because you need to run this like a project manager or run this like a business itself before you begin to worry about how organized the game itself is, how much money you can get into the game, and then how you can then bring the people that you've lost to football elsewhere back onto the pitches or back onto watching it on TV. At every given time when you have your own local game, there are several other games happening in different leagues. Yeah, so we are competing with them. We are not going to, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. More people want to see the EPL or other foreign leagues that are doing this.
It looks nice on TV.
Well, yes, there are several things, several reasons why that is. You know, but more importantly, there's no case of patriotism. Say, watch this. But it's like a dying art or a dying culture here. First of all, you have to realize that you have a role to play to make it better. You know, and nobody is saying stop watching that. But if you really share the passion and you really believe that you want your country to thrive, this is where it starts from, the local league. You know, it's a message we are selling out gradually, and I'm beginning to find a renewed enthusiasm. People are getting curious, people are coming back. You may not necessarily see them fill up the stands, but they're getting more involved. We can feel the gauge, we can gauge this passion on the social media, on the activities in the media generally. The people are coming back to the game. So maybe this hunger that you say we all have for that, there's something about football, amongst all sports. But I would like to invite to the studio now, you know, mathematical Segun Odegbami, Chisom Mbonu of Super Sports, and Kayode Tijani, who's an independent producer and a sports journalist of several years, so that they can at least take you to task and we all discuss. Maybe there's a direction you're going that is wrong. I don't know. But for us, on Seriously Speaking, we just want Nigerians to see why we need to take our local league seriously. So we'll be back in a short while. See why we need to take our local... So we'll be back in a short while. See why we need to take our local... So we'll be back in a short while. See why we need to take our local... So we'll be back in a short league seriously. Wow. Take our local... So we'll be back in a short league seriously. See why we need to take our local... So we'll be back in a short league seriously. See why we need to take our local... So we'll be back in a short league seriously. See why we need to take our local... Wow. So we'll be back in a short... See why we need to take our local... Wow. So we'll be back in a short... See why we need to take our local... Wow. So we'll be back in a short... See why we need to take our local... Wow. League seriously. So we'll be back
in a short while. Why we need to take our... Yes, we are right here getting ready to hang out. We're going to be hanging out today with our panelists. We've spoken to all of them already on the show, so they're going to sit down there and probably box each other out if they so desire. But at the end of the day, what we want you to see and realize is that football is serious business. Like my immediate last guest said, it's about all of us doing the right things to ensure that it gets to the level that it should. So right now, I'm going to join them. You know, let's go. Let's go. Okay, mathematical. Nice to see you again. Abu. Chisom. Super sport, not super sports.
Yeah, no
okay.
S at the
Thank
back.
you. Why? It should be plural. Now you guys do many things. Sounds better with plural. Then Kayode, and then our dear LMC chair, Honourable Nduka Irabor. We've arranged you in a particular order. You know, these are the ones that have tasted football for real. These are the ones that just talk football. Although Chisom has used her hand to carry football a few times. And then this is the one who has the task to ensure that football becomes both a passion and a game and make money.
Oh, the outsider.
But you play football too now. You're passionate about it.
We all play football at some point.
Even me, sir.
Yeah, you see that.
You know, let me start. You know, there's a question I want to ask. I don't know who's going to be able to answer this. Let me ask the young footballer. Do you know which local league football club has won CAF championships, the league, back-to-back?
Eyimba.
Ah, well done. You're very current. Okay, one more question, and I'll throw this open. In 1998, upon the resumption of the 98-99 French Transfer League, a Nigerian broke transfer records as the most expensive footballer in France and the fourth most expensive in the world. Who is he? Not you.
Sorry.
This is the one that is the directory, JJ Okocha. You
didn't tell me I could not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted that to people to see that we've had some really interesting things come out of here. But, you know, let me start with this young man, Abu. Abu dreams of going forward. I'm going to ask you one simple question. I don't know whether they agree with me. What is your football age? Truly.
My football age?
Yes.
I don't have a football age. My real age is 20.
That's it?
Yes, ma'am.
So have you been told that you need to have a football age?
No, at all.
Nobody has ever told you that. But have you heard about the football age?
Sure.
What did you hear about it?
I heard you can reduce your age so you can play for maybe under 20, under 17 or something.
So what's your hope now? You're definitely not going to go under 20 anymore.
I can't even do it anymore because I've played for the national team and I'm still playing for the national beach soccer team.
That's beach soccer? Beach
soccer national team presently. So there is no way I can even go and reduce my age anymore.
Okay. All right. So I don't know who's going to throw the first salvo at you. What questions would you like to put before the man whose task it is to ensure that at least football begins to attract the kind of money and attention that it requires?
Well, like I said earlier, I believe is more than what he alone can do. He can only do what he can do, which he is doing. I said before he came here, I said they don't know who they are dealing with. When you talk about...
What do you mean by that? They don't know who they are dealing with?
Well, I mean, football...
is he a tough...
Oh, no, it's not he's actually a gentleman, which is a disadvantage for him in the sense that people think they can intimidate him.
Okay,
now they
quiet.
know better. But like I said earlier, it's a systematic thing. I told you about how I went to the hospital in England when I was there to check for Wayne Rooney or David Beckham's age. Is there in the computer? In the hospital, whichever hospital, they don't use affidavit. So it's a tough one.
Okay, here is affidavit that they use.
Or you can change your... If I have a passport, if I know that an agent is going to take me out and say, listen, you know what, you are a good player, but what happens is that we need you. If you are less than 22, we can get a club for you. Then you change your passport. Though there's a new kind of passport now, you can change it if you've not changed it before. So it's very simple. There's still ways, loopholes of... You have to block the loophole. That's very important, really.
I don't know if you agree with that, sir.
Absolutely.
Everybody's agreeing with him. What about you?
I'm just going to say that I feel very sorry for my brother, Nduka.
Which one?
Nduka. Because, you know, the task of actually changing Nigerian football is so enormous. It's like changing Nigeria itself. See how hopeless the whole situation is. Look at... in all spheres, and football truly captures or encapsulates every aspect of life. Mm-hmm. So it's like Nduka is trying to reform Nigeria as a whole through football. If he succeeds with football, the best he can do is that becomes a model for the rest of the country. But it's going to be a hard task doing that.
But I think more often than not, we find ourselves, myself included, we find ourselves reeling out the problems with Nigerian football, with Nigerian football.
Nduka will never say that. He says it's not about problems.
But I think even while we bring out all the problems, we push them to the fore, we should also try and profile solutions as well. So my question to you would be, there's so many issues with Nigerian football, so I'll just pick one aspect that I've thought about, and I've wondered why we haven't thought about it to see if it will work, because now we're doing trial and error, right? So now, the fact of the matter is that the European leagues, especially the Barclays Premier League, has taken over the minds and the souls of Nigerians.
You can say that
is
again.
a fact. We can't deny it. So it's actually taking over the passion that we all have for the local league. But the passion for football is there, because football, played anywhere, is football. How about a situation where the LMC, with the club owners, so to speak, come together and decide on playing football days and times that do not clash with the Premier League? See if that will help in drawing people to the game, not just to the stadium, but on TV as well.
Is it clashing right now?
It is.
Okay.
Just so my understanding was that you were going to prefer solutions.
No, he's asking you to prefer solutions.
That's the solution I have. I'm asking now, why can't it be?
That is the solution you have?
Yeah.
That does not solve our problem. Yes, we'll keep looking for solutions. This season, we are trying a cocktail of what we think might be solutions to getting people in. But it is wrong to say scheduling, coinciding with the very popular British Premier League, or EPL as it is sometimes called, will solve the problem. A few weeks ago, we had two major English clubs playing at about 3 o'clock at the weekend. But so was the PSL, the South African League. They had a Soweto derby, and they had 87,000 people in the stadium in South Africa on that day. So it's not a question of shedding. People will watch good football. People will watch football that is made known to them. I can confess here that we're still struggling with even getting our fixtures right. We say match is on Friday and suddenly it is Saturday. Those are basic things you need to sort out. People need to be able to plan their holidays. We did our licensing, eligibility for the season, some 4 days before the season started. That uncertainty, that delay, that unfamiliarity with the process meant we couldn't even advertise our league table.
Why does that exist?
Our league fixture.
Why can't the fixtures be certain?
You have to understand that we are just starting. We did not inherit a league. We are starting from basement level, ground zero. We have pulled the house down, as it were, and trying to set it up properly again. Now, part of the past problem was that fixture uncertainty was an issue. But before that, you need to have the clubs. And you look at the books, even locally, and look at the books that FIFA prescribes. We did not have clubs. Yes, we did not have clubs, because the clubs needed to do basic things within FIFA criteria. They have criteria A, B, C. Some of them are mandatory. The A criteria have youth teams within certain age groups. All our clubs did not have it. We had youth teams that was made up of 27, 28-year-old people that you had determined already couldn't play football. Yet you were building your future on these people who couldn't make the grade. So we need to work on something like that. Have a football team that pays basic, decent salary for professionals. And FIFA has somehow defined what a professional ought to be. Any income more than your expenditure. But today, we are still paying income not up to basic survival standards. You know, so, but even then, we had in our books that this is minimum wage, and people just simply ignored it. So it's to get the clubs acquainted to rules, first of all, get the rules in place, and we found out also that the rush to get seasons started just made people ignore the rules. So we delayed until we were able to get them meet at least basic rules, basic conditions for eligibility. In the process, there were some things I believe have been resolved, as it were. But now that we've done that, we'll get a calendar out. Now, to think that it is the responsibility of some managers, the Nduka Irabors in LMC or the Football Federation, to solve the problem of football, big mistake. To solve the problem of football, we have to appreciate that it's a communal passion, a communal property. We all have to get involved. And there's no use for me to have big-time football locally, and the media does not talk about it.
In your time, was media involved? And we knew you.
Oh, deeply. Very deeply involved. In fact, without the media, radio, right? You couldn't drive. You couldn't drive football development. In fact, without television, all this the money we are talking in football would never happen.
But in your time, it was more like
everything.
The endless of concourse. And you say, we had to depend on radio.
There was television, but there was also radio. Radio was more popular, but there was TV, of course.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I said it before. Without television, the growth of football will be slower than it should be, which is why I brought up the question, because I'm from a TV. I brought up the question of fixtures. Now, if you look at the Champions League, for example, now I'm not comparing. We're not there. I can never compare. We're not there yet. But I'm just saying, if you look at the Champions League, for example, you find that clubs, at the initial stages, clubs from the same countries do not play on the same day, only for television, because they have worked out the importance of television. Now, coming from a television perspective as well, SuperSport has had issues with...
LMC?
No, not LMC. We have a very good relationship with the LMC. I'm talking about stadium. I'm talking about security. We've had issues. Clubs who don't want us to cover for whatever reason. I don't know.
No, is the coverage free?
SuperSport is, it's a product that SuperSport is paying for.
Chisom, let me come in at this point. Please have it at the back of your mind that this is a different body. We're talking about the same space. We're talking about Nigeria. But the body running the league right now has a different approach to managing the game.
As well.
We're very concerned about our fixtures. We're very concerned about obligation to TV, not just because we get money from SuperSport, the broadcast sponsor, but because we know TV will help us win the souls of people back. All these problems aside from the invasion of TV. When Segun, no, but that's the truth.
Please still watch.
No, but let me just put in a word. Let me just put in a word here so that you guys can recall when Rashidi Yekini, after retiring for 5 years, came back to the game in Nigeria and decided to play for a club. When Daniel Amokachi came back from retirement and decided to play for a club, the stadia on those two occasions were filled, irrespective of EPL or no EPL. We need to put on ground a good product, and the good product comprises a fantastic pitch, not the AstroTurf we're using everywhere that some people have collected money, because if we had good pitches, the Super Eagles would not only be playing in Calabar. Arsenal would have been here to come and play. They can't play on AstroTurf. So we take care of the pitches. We make sure that JJ Okocha wouldn't finish his career in Europe and not come to play here. He wanted to come and play here, but he couldn't play on those pitches and he wouldn't play on AstroTurf. So we need to take care of certain basic things, very basic. If we did those, you find that a lot of people will sit at home to watch their EPL, but a lot of people will go to the field to also watch.
Is that your responsibility?
I couldn't agree more. It's our responsibility.
Okay,
all of us, including you.
Me. Okay, I'm doing my bit. I'm educating the
well, that's fine, you know. But we have to appreciate that you are not doing the league management company any favors. Nor are you doing the Football Federation any favor. We all have to be involved. And the spin-offs are many. The spin-off will come to all. Football offers you an opportunity to grow business in several directions. The more the business grows, the trickle-down effect, as it tends to be, would affect generally everybody, the players.
Advertisers, people putting their money on football. Just the final question to you.
People will.
They are not yet.
They are not yet. A few people are. SuperSport has kept abiding faith. They know there's a product. They know there's a product that can be improved. Global Home has done very well, even when people cynically wave off the league and complain about the quality. Go back home has kept on to it. But, you know, you begin to weigh what is the weight, what's the quantum of money coming in. People do not appreciate it. One of the things I've been doing lately is to say, thank you, sponsors, you're doing very well, but you're offering us peanuts.
No, can the stadium ever be full?
Yeah,
I mean, we must
I wanted to make an example of a club like Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich in Germany, not just Bayern Munich now, what is happening in England cannot happen. Where an Abramovich comes in, the Abu Dhabi group comes in, and the whole Bayern Munich is owned by 75% of the fans. Fact.
Oh, so that's we can own this club.
Their shareholders, 75% of they own the clubs. They have stakes in it. So it's very simple. These are what German clubs do. You can never find somebody throwing in money and becoming the owner and doing a lot of things he wants to do. And that's why these clubs are conglomerates.
I'm sorry, I must
they make the kind of money.
But I need to know, though, what's the percentage of ownership of clubs in Nigeria?
Today, I don't know. The clubs are generally, we know.
Okay.
Yeah, we know.
Are they owned by
government?
Abramovich type of people?
Government, 100%. Maybe 90%.
And that's not good. That's not good.
When they were calling some people club owners, I was surprised. How can you be a club owner when you are a staff? You collect salaries. You're a club owner. That's what I was. I mean, when they said salaries should now be 150,000 naira, I'm like, okay, not quite the kind of money we're looking at, but it makes a lot of sense. I was shocked.
Did you end up to 150,000 naira when you were there? Oh. How much did they pay you? You didn't tell me before.
We're being paid 60,000
a month.
Yeah.
Very well paid.
Oh, really? Okay.
Let me say something very quickly. Even when he was earning 60,000, the rule was that they should be paid minimum 100,000 naira. You know, but we had some kind of awkward arrangements. The persons who were paying the 60,000 were the persons managing the league, so it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Nobody could hold them to.
Yeah, which is why we're insisting at this point that we must apply the rule, we must enforce the rules. You know, hopefully we'll get all of them to do more than has been prescribed.
When they said I don't, because you're a volunteer actually.
No, but he's doing well. No, we must say it openly here that in 2 years, or less than 2 years, that Nduka and the LMC have existed, they have done more than so many other bodies before them. In fact, since the start of the professional league. So you have done very well, we must commend you.
Thank you.
So that 50 years that Kayode predicted will be shorter if they... He says that football will take 50 years to bring it.
It will take a long time. You know, again, let's not forget the fact that some of these leagues that we adore, that we follow so religiously, had their own rudimentary stage. Yeah. The evolution of the EPL or the Barclays Premier League didn't start until 1992.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have a part 2 to this show. My director says I must round up. You can never finish talking about football.
Don't forget what I said earlier. I said, apart from what he is doing, what any other person is doing, there are things none of us can do. Like, I told you an example of traveling around England to watch 2-3 matches in a day in different
infrastructure.
Infrastructure. There's nothing. Yeah. If I go to watch a match at Ibadan, I don't think I want to come back home. I don't think I want to drive
go and watch a match in Maiduguri either.
No, I don't.
Not now. Okay, so the question is, we must do the right thing. So I must sign off, really. I must thank all of you for being with us. If I call you again, you will come for part 2. Maybe make the show 2 hours and get money to pay for it. I don't know. But thank you very much for being, and I wish you all well. I'm glad that my brother is doing excellently well. Yeah, and though my sons are still very Arsenal, Barca, and co, I hope when they finish watching, I hope that we will all go there. And I will actually pay, like my father did, take me to the stadium to go and watch a local match. And I must thank my guests for having spent a stimulating time with me in the studio. And like I said, we must make this part 2, maybe 3 and 4. It never ends. But I must go home, and so I must say bye-bye to you. We all have a role to play. Chisom and Co at Supersport, no problem, we'll watch you. But when we are done, we'll pack our bags and go with our moms and our dads to the stadium to watch the Nigerian Premier League, aka MPL. Hoping that the LMC, when they're done with their job, we will all be happy and excited to be part of it all. So at this point in time, I must say good night, or komesia, or whatever it is. Till next week.